The April 24th Spring Valley Lake Association election, the topic on this Joseph W. Brady report.
Well, they have an election on April 24th, Saturday morning, the 24th at 10 o'clock. And there are 5 candidates. There's actually 6. The ballots have hit. And what's funny, Terry, today's Friday. Tuesday, I received 4 text messages in a row, all from residents in Spring Valley Lake, saying, "Hey, who do I vote for and who do I vote for?" So I'm pleased that people do believe in what we have to say. So the 3 people that Deb and I are supporting, that I really think I think are the best. And again, we live in America, so we have our opinion. You have C.J. Eversole, okay, owns Pizza Factory. Young man, he's lived there. He's used all the facilities. He's been a part of Spring Valley Lake since he was a kid. Mr. Brad Lettner, Brad goes to 29 Palms every single day and runs $1 million budgets, and he's been around government. He was city manager for a short period of time over in Adelanto. Ran the Hesperia Chamber. I think he did a great job. He's very strong-minded, and that I like. If he says something, that's what he believes. He was also on the board before, and he had to get off the board when he got this job down at 29 Palms. And the last person is David Stolfus. And David, he's lived in there as long as I have. Cares deeply. He's used all facilities. So here you have somebody running for the board that's used the lake, that's used the park, that has used all the facilities, that really does have a good feeling about it. I will say one thing. Mrs. Romero, Joanne Romero, reached out after the last video and wrote me a very, very nice email and just said, hopefully we can have a great dialogue. And what I said to her, because we're so close to the election, I didn't want to convolute. It wasn't you're apologizing or we're trying to work together as a quid pro quo. I just said to her, let's get together after April 25th. The vote is at 10 o'clock on the 24th, and if she wins, I want to meet with her. If she loses, I still want to meet with her. Mr. Ponce, I don't know him. I would have thought at this point I would have heard from him, but I didn't. So those are the 3 people that we're going to go with: CJ, David, and Brad, and I think that they'll make a good. No matter how it comes out, Mr. Ponce, if you win and Joanne, hopefully we can have that conversation on the 25th, because this is what I think kind of proves if our actions speak louder than our words, and we'll go from there. So that's who I'm supporting, and I'm pleased to support them. I think that there are 3 really good people that really care. I think all 5 of them do. Okay, so I don't want to say that 3 care and 2 don't. I don't think that's fair. I think that anytime you give up your life to do anything committee work, these people don't get paid. Okay, they spend probably 3 hours at a board meeting or 4 hours at a board meeting. They have an executive board meeting the night before, which I don't understand. I think they should do it all at the same time. So I think that really does. And I really do think that the board should take a look at the elections being every 3 years for longer terms, because by the time you get in there and you get acclimated, then it's time to go out. It's kind of like Congress, So, yeah.
An assessment of the process to purchase the country club and golf course.
The golf course planning committee is holding a forum at 7 o'clock on the 21st of April at the community center, but those seats are already taken. So based on the distancing issue and 25% capacity, I think that President Brian Bickert told me today that they'll probably have like 60 people there. The idea is for the committee to address any concerns and questions to the residents about the proposed purchase. Since we talked last, I've gone through it and given my input, written input about the purchase and sale agreement. The attorneys are still working through some of the final details. Brian and I talked about it today, and I gave him some of my finer points of what there's kind of a point I think you say to club court, this is what's fair, and let's go do it this way. So Brian is hoping that by the 21st they have that done. I did tell him that until they have that deal done, I wouldn't necessarily put out the purchase price. I think the purchase price is very viable. I think it's very doable. I think it's a win-win for Club Corp. I think it's a win-win for Spring Valley Lake Association. The devil's always in the details. So we went back through when we signed the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, and we've helped the association. Brian asked me today if I would continue to give the board directors some input. This week, after I was contacted by Brian Hurst, who sits on the board, we contacted three well-known public relations firms that are in the Inland Empire, that understand the Inland Empire, and we've made our written recommendations to the board about interviewing all three. In order to get this through, it's going to take more than key residents within the association trying to sell it. There's a bigger picture here. Spring Valley Country Club is an asset to the residents in Spring Valley Lake. Okay, and I've had people say, well, if you live over on Hidden Valley and you don't live on the golf course, and the golf course were to close, it's not going to have an impact. If the golf course were to close and go brown, it's going to have a serious impact. I just found out the other day, and I was not aware. And maybe you remember where Arrowhead Country Club is down in San Bernardino? That was purchased by a Chinese investment group, and they shut it down. So it is a major weed patch, and the homeowners are frantic, and it's having huge impacts on their values. So I believe that with the work that Greg Christmas did in his report and our response to him through the board, that he'll come back with a little fine tune. According to Brian, the plan is to borrow enough money to purchase a country club for cash, to put the improvements in. So the club's going to need probably $2.5 million worth of improvements to take care of the park, and to take care of refinancing the water that was bought a couple years ago. So Brian feels pretty confident. He's working with the lender. The rates very, very competitive, and he believes that we can do this without really incurring much of an increase at all to anybody's dues. So what I have said to people, Terry, I've told people that I told Brian Hurst and Bill Scott originally when we met in November after the election of the CSD, that while I want to support the golf course, I'm not going to support something to support something. It's got to be a viable plan. I believe that the association is trying to move down that path to get there, but the devil's in the details. So there will be a period of time once they sign that contract that they have to get this done. Okay, so again, I feel pretty good about the recommendations of the three different consultants. They all know the Inland Empire very well, and I think that Brian, as president, and I think his leadership team realizes that while you could have 100 prominent members of Spring Valley Lake Country Club or residents that live there, you really need the message to get out there on what the facts are. And that's going to take probably 3 or 4 mailers and a bunch of community forums and question and answer, things like that. So they're moving forward. I did tell them that I would attend on the 21st and kind of sit in the back and then send them a critique afterwards, so that I think they're able to get an idea of what they're going to do. They've got a lot of these planned out, and then I think when they hire the consultant, they'll have a whole lot more, because I think COVID will hopefully have dissipated, and we'll be able to increase the capacity on where to meet. And I think, with videos and things like that, they'll be able to put together a question and answer thing that people would want to see, and that hopefully we won't have the same kind of not disinformation, but the same type of a campaign that we went through with the CSD, which was really unfortunate. So,
Ahead on Joseph W. Brady Online, the MAC status and the economy's health checkup. Thank you for watching.